Hello and welcome to the 93rd episode of Growing Up Geek, the weekly podcast for geek entertainment and nostalgia. My name is Brad and I am joined by my brother Rob.
Gigantor!
Yes, you are!
Ah.
What's up, man?
They built one, like a 50-foot tall one, right out in Japan somewhere.
Ah!
And everybody lined up for pictures with it.
It finally happened.
Following that trend. I like it. Let's build more giant robots, people.
That is a sneak preview of what is soon to be seen over the desert dune in Iraq.
Yeah.
Through binoculars.
You know, exactly. In kind of AT-AT Walker sort of fashion.
Yeah. It's beautiful. Oh, God. So how you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Fall leaves hitting the ground.
Cold winds chilling across the land.
Whipping across your leg like an uncomfortable grasp from an old man.
Yes, very uncomfortable old man grasp.
It's getting closer to Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Have you prepared a costume? Are you going to be costumed this year?
I am definitely going to be, at least if I can get it together. I've already started shopping to try and figure it out, and hopefully we can get this party started right. You know, I'm trying to, because I would love to do something cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, elaborate idea I had was, maybe I could be, the king of all cosmos.
Yes.
But that's kind of really difficult to pull off, especially with his headgear. So right now the other thing that I'm kind of thinking of is Zombie Mario.
Wow. Yeah, you know, the thing is, because Amber and I won a costume party last year as Mario and Luigi.
Right.
Since I'm tall and she's short. But the key is you've got to be not only good, but popular. Like a character that people will know.
Right.
Because there was a really awesome Shaun of the Dead, and nobody knew who he was. He was much more perfect costume-wise than we were, but nobody voted for him. So he didn't get... And we won $100, so that was cool. But I'm prepping stuff, and I called you from the Spirit Halloween store to ask you about some costume-related questions. And while I was there, a couple observations. One, I am totally out of it when it comes to Star Wars now, apparently.
What?
Which is pathetic, I know. But I saw Cad Bane on the wall, and I realized I have no idea who that is.
It's it's the bane of all CADs.
Yeah,
you can't design
computer-aided drafting.
You can't design crap with him.
Yeah, this cowboy-looking guy. I guess he's like a bounty hunter or something. God forgive me, because I should know who these people are, but he's part of the expanded universe, the Clone
Wars?
Yeah.
I guess that's actually taking off. People watch it.
Yeah, it's not that bad, I guess, for me to not know, but I just was like, holy crap, kids are dressing up like this guy, and I have no idea who he is. That was observation number one. Number two is, God help you if you're a female.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you're trying to be police officer, it's sexy police officer.
Yep.
There's no such thing as I'm having fun, unless you dress like a man.
Yeah, exactly.
And your choices there were a series of generic versions of Borat. there was a Borat called Eurasian Traveler.
Yes.
They didn't want to actually say it, and there was totally Edward from Twilight, and it said Gothic Youth.
Yeah. Yeah.
I loved looking at those.
You always get those kind of we couldn't really acquire the rights, but it's basically this thing.
Yeah, but oh man, I just felt terrible. It's Amber's trying to figure out, she's going to dress as a man basically.
Yeah.
Which is I don't want to spoil it, but it's a funny one. It involves a beard. And it's that's the only way to avoid there was literally Playboy branded, costumes. It's oh man, it's the ultimate joke.
Yeah, I know. That's everybody kind of points that out. It's time to dress up like ladies,
But people actually do it. Women give into this, and I say time to take a stand and wear a beard. I don't know. I don't know what the solution is, but it reminds me real quick.
A sexy beard.
Yes. There was a bag that said that.
Oh.
No, it reminds me real quick of this time. You know how they have guys standing outside the Halloween store that are dressed up and they're pointing a sign at the store?
Yeah.
I saw the most pathetic one, and not pathetic in an insulting way, but actually made me sad, was I saw Superman, and it was pouring rain, and the dude had a sign, he was holding it, and he was scrunched up, his cape was kind of sagging down and wet, and his head was down, and you could see the little curl on his head, and he's just looked so miserable and sad, and I was how are you going to have Superman looking like that, muscles kind of deflated looking? And I was God, somebody give him a hand. It It was like in Superman 2 when he was getting the crap kicked out of him. It looked like that. It was just standing there like,
Oh, I'm immune to everything except for the coldness of the rain.
Yeah, it was like, that is not a way to treat Superman. He just looked so sad and like didn't want to be there. I feel bad for those guys, but anyway, that's Halloween stuff. So
won't you help Superman
this Christmas? But let's go ahead and get into some geek news.
Geek news.
Every week that's me and Rob, like to bring you, the listener, our favorite geek news story. We read lots of them, so it's easy to pick. And Rob, what was your favorite story this week?
I thought it was pretty interesting. Some news or possible rumors, or not quite rumors, quotes emerging.
Let's start over. Let's reintroduce ourselves.
We've discussed this before on the show, but it's now actually coming more to light that U2 rock band may in fact become a reality.
Yeah, I love that as the news story. Something may happen.
I know, but this is backed up by the fact that there's actually a quote. This is from Adam Clayton. Neither Bono nor Edge. This is the one of the
so
ones
no one knows.
with a real name.
Is he a bass player or drummer?
He's the bassist.
Okay, cool.
He's the one who's kept his hair gray. Sort of stuff. I don't know if you've seen. He told this to USA Today. He said, "We definitely would like to be in there," meaning the video game industry, "but we felt some of the compromises weren't what we wanted. That could change. I love the idea. That's where people are getting music, and we'd love to be in that world."
It's such a weird quote. That's where the people get the music, and that's the world. We'd love to be inside of the game, if we could, please.
What the Beatles have done, where the animation is much more representative of them, is what we're interested in. Rather than that one-size-fits-all animation, we didn't want to be caricatured.
Yeah, caricatured.
Caricatured. Oh my goodness.
That's
Get
all
me
right.
a pill or
you
something.
said it like he would have said it. I appreciate your Irish accent.
We wouldn't want to be caricatured.
Yeah, that's probably what he said. Caricatured.
Yeah.
Continue.
Well, that's the end of his quote. But I think it's it's cool, and obviously he's not ascribing this to either Guitar Hero or Rock Band either way. But
it sounds like that's what he's thinking of a little bit, because I don't think they want their bodies to be used for the kind of perversions that have happened with Cobain and Johnny Cash and stuff.
I mean, honestly, I remember hearing about that, but playing through Guitar Hero 5, they actually, Johnny Cash and Kurt Cobain and who else just recently popped up there?
Muse.
Well, no, I mean Matthew Bellamy is the one that kind of looks disturbing. But I feel like they didn't take as much time modeling him. Like Johnny Cash looks really kind of like Johnny Cash,
Oh, sweet.
And Kurt Cobain, like they got his movements down and everything. Considering especially with him and Johnny Cash, they didn't have like any mocap to work with or anything like that. Like it's all just based on what they've seen on TV.
Yeah, sure.
So they kind of get that down pretty well. And honestly, like I don't think it is as uncanny valley as a lot of people kind of make it out to be.
There you go.
Because there is still sort of a disconnect. It's the Unreal 3 engine, but they still kind of characterize it.
Well, that's good, because we constantly, I feel like we're always one-sided when it comes to the whole Rock Band Guitar Hero thing, but they still do a decent job. But when we were talking about the Beatles, I forgot to mention this, that as we were playing that game, I thought of this too, this possibility of a U2 game. I thought that seemed like the next logical step. So I'm really glad to hear that, because they've got a huge, good catalog to work with that spans just as long, well, way longer actually, and it hasn't appeared in any game yet.
Yeah, they're noticeably absent, the same as Led Zeppelin or other bands that are kind of holding out, but this could really happen because they hold the rights to their music. It's easily released if they so choose to have it done. Now that they've kind of seen, like, okay, if the Beatles can do it, and Lord knows that U2 wants to be the Beatles, then we can maybe expect to see a U2 rock band in the near future.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited about the Led Zeppelin thing, if that ever happens, because I still haven't really listened to a lot of their music, and I know people, always say they're one of the best hard rock bands ever, and like from what I've heard, I believe it, but I'm looking forward to just kind of like experiencing it all through the game for the first time. I don't know if that's kind of gross to like music fans, but like playing a lot of these songs actually puts me more in touch with it than I would have been as just a listener, and new appreciation.
And I think that's part of what he was getting on here with this quote, was that he said, this is this is a distribution apparatus. People are getting their music
Yeah.
through here. People
yeah.
are rediscovering the Beatles. People are discovering brand new bands
Yeah.
through this. And so if they get in there, it's been shown to build appreciation for bands.
Didn't we find out about remember PlayStation Underground? We used to get those PlayStation demo discs. They would come like tri-monthly or whatever. And on there would be music videos like hidden with secret codes, and that's how I found out about a lot of stuff like Our Lady Peace was on there.
Korn.
Stuff like that. And then I think one of the Burnouts had like Billy Talent was on there, and I thought that was cool. So yeah, totally you can discover music through games.
Yeah. And especially music games.
Yes, what better place?
All right, yeah.
So moving on, my news story will be short, but I was excited about this. And again, I neglected to mention this last week. We talked real briefly about the PSP Room, I think, that was announced at TGS.
Yeah, okay.
And then we were talking about how the Go just came out, PSP Go, and it's out. And I forgot that this is the first video game system to be without a media.
It is a download-only device.
It is, and that's something that you would think I would have latched onto, and I totally forgot about that. So all I really wanted to say is this really represents something big, and I think it's worth noting that Sony has basically staked their claim and said, we have made a device that does not have a physical disc. And it's something that everybody says is going to happen, and you and I always, are predicting that, happening. I was telling Amber last night, I want all of our shows to be digital and to be on demand and everything. But it's happening through the PSP. It's a small start. It's something a lot of people are actually kind of annoyed with. If you read a lot of comments,
right?
People aren't loving how Sony's treating the handling of the pre-existing games and stuff. Essentially, you don't get any kind of discount for already owning things.
Yeah,
you have to rebuy, which is kind of gross, but I mean, somebody has to do it. It's a little bit like when Apple releases like Mac OS 9 or whatever. If I have my facts right, there was one OS they released that they basically had to just sort of shun the legacy people, and it was like, ouch. But
it
was
Snow Leopard.
for the
it was just now released, because the thing that made Snow Leopard smaller and more agile was that it dumped all of the G4, G5 code, like the PowerPC stuff, and just was simply made to run on Intel Macs.
Yeah, and it's the kind of thing that Microsoft does badly. They keep the legacy customer dangling on there just so they don't cause issues. But if they just cut the cord, it will be a temporary pain in the butt that will eventually lead to much greater things. So I appreciate what Sony's doing there. And it sounds like it's a PSP like in addition to the other PSP, the 3000.
Yeah.
I don't think they're billing this as like throw away your PSP. It's sort of for a different kind of customer, maybe.
No, that doesn't make sense though. Like if you're gonna have a different kind of customer, then just like release games for cell phones or make a cell phone platform like based on this.
Well, Giant Bomb was saying that they're competing with the iPhone with this.
Yeah.
Like the commentary from all of Sony PR is basically, here's how it's better than the iPhone. So this wasn't probably planned originally, but I mean you can't use your games with it. So I couldn't imagine that they want a current owner to buy this.
Right. I really think though then in that case, go with the iPhone, like or not the iPhone, but maybe just the iPod Touch. Like
that's more specifically what they're competing with.
Yeah, I don't see this really working like in that same kind of arena. It's still so much the AAA titles rather than indie titles, which is like the model for the iPhone. And what makes sense for a solid-state storage device, is small games from small companies, at small prices. PSP Go is not going to do that. They're going to be like, well, we're going to send you this $50 game. And people are going to be like, whatever,
Well, it may not. I mean, look, I'm not expecting it to change the world, but it is significant in what it represents. Like I said, it's downloadable gaming only. And that's cool. Also, by doing that, much slimmer, can fit in your actual pocket. No man purse required, which is a huge thing for me since I am a man.
I will admit, I saw the box at Walmart, and it is tiny.
Yeah.
It was a tiny box. I'm like, man, I wonder how small that thing really is, because I haven't seen one in person.
Yeah, sorry. Smaller screen, unfortunately. But, the old PSP, kind of clunky. This one, made for on the go. and plays all the media and everything that the iPhone does.
Yep.
Anyway, I thought that was significant. So coolness. And at this point in the show, we would usually pick a topic that we're both excited in and discuss it. But this week we're going to go a little bit off the rails, if we may. Oh, God, the whole show will fall apart. No, we're going to discuss some things that we have neglected to discuss before because of time constraints or because of whatever. Things that are still awesome. And we'll just start with you, Rob.
Sure.
What are you loving on that you want people to know about?
I would like to spread some geek love.
Please apply a generous dollop, if you will. A little dab will do you.
Generous helping, actually, towards a food of many geeks, or that a food that many geeks should be familiar with, and that is sushi.
Yeah.
It's kind of an odd choice, maybe. But I kind of wanted to talk about like this topic of like, what do geeks eat and things like that. And I kind of been getting a lot into sushi. And I realized that's because Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Katamari Damacy, things like that always have kind of featured this food prevalently. So anyways, I'm talking about sushi here, which is mostly thought of as raw fish, but it's not.
This is so weird.
It's actually a vinegary rice.
Yes.
Which is typically topped with fish, but also other meats and things like that. I mean, admit it, like you found out it through Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or
the cartoon version always did look delicious, I must say. And Amber is a big fan of sushi, but she normally gets the non-fishy kinds. And I will say I really enjoy it. Cucumber roll, the Boston roll, because I enjoy soy sauce, basically. And you mix a little wasabi in there, you dunk it in. But I mean, it's really, I enjoy salt, I guess is what's being said here.
Yep.
Like I should not be considered cultured for eating saltiness. And that's kind of all it is like a salt delivery mechanism.
Yeah. And that is typically like, salt-soaked rice. I'm cultured now.
Right, exactly.
So I'd say, okay, if you ever want to go out and kind of actually get into sushi, my first suggestion of where to start is with spicy tuna.
Yeah.
All right? It is raw. It is raw tuna, but it is delicious.
Sweet.
It's actually a great way to experience seafood.
Mm-hmm.
When you cook something, especially if you barbecue it or especially if you deep fry it, you're taking away from what the whole like flavor of that item is.
And adding awesomeness. I'm sorry. I'm such a Southern cuisine kind of guy.
I know.
Yeah.
It's like Southern people don't like meat. They don't like anything. They just like the taste of batter wrapped around something.
Exactly. We take things and then we slather them. I have Asian friends and they're always like, no, you want the natural taste. You want the genitals, and I'm like,
yeah, maybe not so much. Not to say that there isn't deep fried sushi out there for people like that.
Sure, yeah.
And sometimes it's actually kind of interesting, but for the most part, like I think if you want to experience what a salmon tastes like, there's no better way than to get some salmon sashimi, or salmon nigiri, which is putting it on top of the rice.
I'm sure you've seen the excellent SNL skit with Matt Dillon discussing ordering sushi, how to order sushi like a CEO.
Okay.
He did a gruff voice and everything, but he was showing off. And yeah, he has that whole, this thing is crazy good, and then spits it out, That was awesome. He's like, it's still got its head on it.
I've run into people who really kind of get kind of heady about like, well, chicken sushi or egg sushi, and they'll be like, well, that's not sushi because sushi is only raw fish. It's like, actually, the sort of sushi council grand master thing dictated that if you're a sushi chef, one of your duties is to capture the flavors of your local area.
I thought you were going to say capture the animal yourself. Like,
exactly.
This is part of what you have to do. It's like,
well, that too.
Yeah.
That too. And that's why their knives are so sharp.
Dude, a guy cut himself in front of me at Benihana once. He was bleeding on the knife. And he was like, excuse me. And then he went away and like made the most awesome like homemade Japanese bandage for his thumb and just came right back to it. So, yeah.
Great work ethic. But if you go to Texas, you'll actually find snake meat sushi, horse meat sushi, various things like that. And I'm sure some deep fried Southern.
I recommend the rattlesteak.
Yes.
I'm just kidding. Wow. So there's some... the show is definitely going in a different direction already, but very cool.
Aha!
Some good geek love there, food-wise. I recommend The IT Crowd, which is a British sitcom that is available on Instant Stream. because that is all that I do to absorb media now. But yeah, IT Crowd, it's British. Warning, there is a laugh track.
Oh no.
Which can be very disconcerting at the beginning. I would not recommend starting this show at the beginning because I stopped watching it. My wife continued watching it. She has a higher tolerance for stuff like that. And, 4 or 5 episodes in, she's like, you got to watch it again. Went back to it, just sort of looking over the top of my laptop. Totally, it got me back into it. So, yeah, skip ahead a little bit if you're going to give this show a chance.
Sure.
And recognize it's British. You and your girlfriend like British comedy, right?
Yeah, we tend to. It's a little drier or whatever. And you know what? I actually recognized a lot of these guys from the Cartoon Network show Garth Marenghi's Dark Place.
Yes.
Which, if you haven't seen that, check that out, too.
Yeah, definitely. It's pretty good. But I should have said the plot is basically 2 IT nerds and their female manager. They hire a manager to just manage the 2 of them. And they're at this company with sort of a over-the-top boss and who's like, kind of moronic. It at times can be very theatrical. Like I said, the problem with British comedy when it's not like the Ricky Gervais stuff is sometimes it can be very kind of like over-the-top characters and voices that are supposed to be hilarious. But it's just not done that way here. We're very sarcastic here. And then, of course, the laugh track, which is constantly reinforcing that it's hilarious, and you're like, nah, not really.
Yeah.
But when it's working, it's really funny. And there's some great situations, especially the 3rd season premiere. There's some just great, well-crafted, funny situations. So I recommend that. It's kind of a good geek recommendation because they are obviously IT people. The intro to the show has an actual crashing computer sound that every time makes me think like, oh my God, something happened. Even with like the window that's creating 1,000 windows, that whole phenomenon.
Now, would you say a lot of the comedy is based out of like geek things? Like, is it a lot of referential humor or?
Not really. In fact, just recently they did like some kind of tech savvy talk, but it's mostly the idea of 2 nerdy guys and this female who is not at all like them.
Okay.
And sort of the back and forth. And one of the guys is so over the top classic stereotype nerd with like the large hair and like the glasses, but it works. I mean, it works. And that's the thing. If you can kind of get over some of the cheesy elements, I think there's a lot of joy there. So that is the IT Crowd on Instant Stream.
I did want to throw a bone to the new Imogen Heap album.
Yeah.
Ellipse or ellipsis, I can't remember.
Lips.
Lips. the karaoke game.
Yeah, exactly. Imogen Heap, people might know from Garden State. She was in the band Frou Frou. Kind
of sometimes falls in the singer-songwriter category, but she's definitely more like indie pop.
Yeah.
Maybe even techno. But that's the thing is like she stands on her own as this singular force. Maybe like Regina Spektor comes close to what she does, but not quite as much.
You need to buy Lips.
No, I mean, I obviously take everything I say with a grain of salt, including sushi. It's delicious with a grain of salt. But even compared to all these other bands that I'm listening to, I have never heard such a thick layer cake of just instruments upon instruments playing with each other. And
yeah,
she harmonizes with herself about 8 billion times.
Yeah. If people have ever seen her live, like she's kind of a technical genius as well. Like she's a one-woman band. She has a keyboard, she loops her own voice over herself and snaps her fingers and samples. And
I think I would recommend Tidal if you have to pick one.
Okay. And
just like try and keep a count of how many different instruments you hear, how many different ideas, because each and every one of those, she had to make a choice to put that in there. And so the kind of detail and intricacy of her work, it's really cool to listen to. So highly recommend you check out Imogen Heap and her album Ellipse if you haven't heard that yet.
I will match your recommendation with a recommendation for MC Chris. One of my favorite geeky kind of albums of this past year, his album called MC Chris is Dead, which shows him as a zombie on the front. People who know him, he's like a nerdcore rapper, kind of a white suburban kid that raps about video games and technology and things like that. But I mean, he explained it as you have all these kids who grew up with that stuff, who enjoy hip hop music, and they shouldn't only have to listen to, lyrics that are about gangs or the streets or whatever, things they're unfamiliar with. And so he was kind of like, at some point, there's going to be this combination of that lifestyle plus hip hop, which is what he's doing. And I think he does it very well. It's got an electro pop musical style to it. Very cool. And, he raps about everything from Reese's Pieces to Star Wars, IG-88,
Yeah.
Famously, he did the song Fet's Vet, which was on Adult Swim. He does voices for Aqua Teen. So you've probably heard him. But MC Chris, good stuff, cool album. I recommend that.
Can just throw a quick recommendation out there. I've been watching Dexter.
Ah, okay.
From Showtime, and that is on Instant Stream. I know season 3 just started, and
I think it's 4. I want to say it's 4.
4? Okay, well, and there was a lot of promotion for that. I'm not on there. I'm actually on the first season. I've watched the first season all the way through, and I'm showing it to my girlfriend right now. She's loving it, and so I can pretty much say, watch the first season at least of Dexter. Kind of like Heroes season 1. It's one of those just great seasons of the show. I don't know if I can speak for the rest of it. I haven't seen the rest of it.
Yeah.
But that first season from beginning to end is just a nice chunk.
Yeah.
It wraps itself up good. It doesn't leave you stranded like Lost.
Yeah.
And I really recommend Dexter if you're looking for a good kind of dark comical drama. It straddles genres pretty well. So
right, he's the likable serial killer. I really
exactly.
I really feel like you have Weeds with the likable weed seller. You have Breaking Bad, the crystal meth. Dexter's the serial killer. Basically, every show on TV now is about someone who commits crimes that you're supposed to like.
The richest, lovable con artists.
I don't know what this says about us as a culture, but that is what is happening. My only problem with Dexter, I got a few episodes in. I don't really love the characters. I do think that the mystery is there, and I think Michael C. Hall is great.
Yeah, there are a few weak links as far as the actors are concerned. I will admit, but eventually, I think I noticed just now, they did away with kind of a lot of the annoying themes that were going on early on. And just kind of focused on, all right, here's what the cool stuff is, and let's talk about the cool stuff.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
That's cool. I will also say, television-wise, that AMC is rocking the house with Breaking Bad and Mad Men.
Okay.
Mad Men, particularly if you have a Blu-ray player, you need to get the first season of Mad Men, and you need to watch it on your Blu-ray, because the 60s outfits, it's a 60s ad agency, and just everybody looks super bright and colorful and pristine and clean cut, and it's a look that I like so much that I've tried to adopt it now. I've shaved off my goatee. I told Amber I don't want to go back to facial hair. I am becoming Don Draper as best as I can.
Smoking lots of cigarettes.
Smoking cigarettes, drinking in the middle of work. It's terrible. I'm going to be fired very soon. But
talking about dames
and how they can't operate machinery.
Exactly.
No, it's an intriguing show. I don't think it's as strong now as it was at the beginning, but I can wholeheartedly recommend. There's a great discussion toward the end of the first season about nostalgia and what it means, and I thought that was awesome. So check out Mad Men. But if I could get back to Breaking Bad, that is a show about a high school chemistry teacher who decides to sell crystal meth. He gets lung cancer, decides he doesn't have much time left, wants to make money for his family, and said teacher is played by Bryan Cranston from Malcolm in the Middle. He was the dad.
Yeah.
This show is awesome. I said the first season of Mad Men is good. The first episode of Breaking Bad, if you don't like it, don't watch the show, because that episode grabbed me so hard. I wish I had a thumb drive or something that I could take around with the first episode on it and give it to people, or a DVD of just the first episode, because I really think it would probably hook most people. Super tight show, well scripted, keeps the things going episode to episode. The stuff that you end up rooting for, you'll kind of question what's going on with you, because he's dealing crystal meth, but you kind of like him. So good stuff. Recommend those shows. AMC, DVD, Blu-ray, however you want to watch it.
None of them are on Instant Stream?
No, sadly those shows aren't. Instant Stream has a lot of Showtime and stuff, but yeah. I have only ever bought one reality show on DVD to own, and that was Tommy Lee Goes to College.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever saw that. Dude, I freaking love Tommy Lee Goes to College. He's just, it's Tommy Lee, the drummer from Poison.
No,
right?
no, not Poison. That's Bret Michaels from Rock of Love. But you're talking about
I'm sorry.
Motley Crue.
The drummer from Motley Crue, famously with Pam Anderson for a while. The guy is like a lovable dope. Like, he's not that intelligent, but he's a kick-butt drummer. So they throw him into this college environment, and just like watching them dissect frogs and things, and him just kind of staring at these things.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it very much. It's such a contrived show. They totally set all this crap up. His roommate and his hot tutor or whatever. So,
well, we'll definitely give that all a check out. That's TV and music and food.
Yeah. What about movies? Any movies that you want to recommend?
No.
Okay.
Dude, I only have like 24 minutes on my battery left.
Oh, crap. Okay, so
Yeah.
I just got the warning that our battery life is low. Okay, I'm going to just rush through these things here. Watch them if you want. Splinter is a horror movie.
Okay.
Watch that on Instant Stream. Creative, original idea, cool monster. And in terms of games, I never said that, but I played and beat Mirror's Edge.
Oh, yeah?
There is a level in that game where you have to scale up a building from inside. There are no enemies or guns to speak of, and that was pure bliss.
All right. And I guess I could recommend just one mini indie game that I've been playing a lot of. It's actually a favorites on my internet. Anytime I just want to play something. Canabalt.
Okay.
Canabalt. And it is a one-button video game. You only press one button, and that button is jump.
Yes.
But it is charming and cool, and the art direction is sweet, and you would like it.
And then Saints Row 2 is the last one that I'll recommend. The anti-Grand Theft Auto, basically. You want to have fun. You don't want to get punished by weird game mechanics like I was. I don't know if I told you, but I sold Grand Theft Auto back to GameStop.
Wow.
It's going to hurt a lot of ears, but I did. After playing it for a while, it hurt me. And Saints Row 2 was the medicine. It is pure, just open-world fun.
Open-world action. That's what you like. Mercenaries 2 as well.
Yes.
Which I picked up brand new for like $15. So.
Oh, yes. I know. All the games I liked from last year are now $15.
Which
including
just
Condemned.
shows your taste. Like,
yeah,
you're not
which
getting
shows
any platinum hits.
I am out of step. So why people would listen to me, I have no idea.
Right.
Hopefully you'll enjoy Saints Row 2. I will say everyone I've recommended it to has really enjoyed it.
Cool.
It comes out of nowhere. Okay. So that is recommendations. And before we go, we want to quickly do a nostalgia section. Every week we like to get nostalgic, and many times we talk about things that no longer even exist, such as David Copperfield.
David Copperfield no longer exists?
He made himself disappear.
Well, I know that, but...
Well, no, I'm just kidding. Lame joke. But yeah, David Copperfield.
Reappearing is the hard part.
Yeah, David Copperfield has not reappeared in a while on television, although he used to appear very regularly when we were kids.
Absolutely. I mean, you can hold on a second. I'm walking through the house seeking a power supply.
Okay, let's travel with Rob now as he seeks a power supply.
Computer is dying. Dying.
This is like Paranormal Activity, the movie.
I know. There's even like a lit candle. All the lights are out.
Will happen.
Soon something's going to jump out at me.